Lacking a quorum for the Assembly Natural Resources Committee. Lacking a quorum for the Assembly Natural Resources Committee, we will meet as a subcommittee, and we will begin with Assemblywoman Bonilla. Item 8.
AB 577 significantly reduces greenhouse gas emissions through investment in biogas production. My bill is a starting point for a broader discussion of investment into biogas production, collection, and purification. The broader discussion will expand beyond injection into the natural gas pipeline, and I'm looking forward to continuing to work with the Chair and the committee and staff on this bill. Biogas is a more sustainable and cleaner alternative to natural gas. If only 10% of California's natural gas use was replaced with biogas, GHG emissions would be reduced by tens of millions of metric tons. The biogas market is not developed in California because the collection and purification is very costly. For example, meeting the pipeline purification standards to inject biogas can add 40% or more to total cost projections. This is often the difference between whether or not a biogas project will get off the ground. Investing $13 million into the development of biogas will collect emissions that would have been released otherwise and simultaneously reduce demand for natural gas and petroleum, further reducing emissions. AB 577 does not pick a technology but allows for different uses of biogas to be selected at each site to account for varying factors, including proximity to the existing natural pipeline or to large vehicle fleets. I ask for your aye vote today and have some witnesses.
Thank you, Assemblywoman Bonilla, Chairman Williams, and members of the committee. My name is Julia Levin, and I'm the Executive Director of the Bioenergy Association of California. We represent about 60 public agencies, local governments, and private companies that are converting organic waste to energy. And we thank the Assembly member for authoring this important legislation. For the Natural Resources Committee, there are a number of things really to underscore with biomethane development. 3 of the top 5 sources of methane are organic waste in California, and 52% of all black carbon comes from wildfire. So increasing the use of biomethane in California helps us tackle some of the largest sources of short-lived climate pollutants that are the most potent climate pollutants in the atmosphere. In addition, this legislation will help us to meet California's new organic waste diversion laws, AB 1594 by Assemblyman Williams and AB 1826 by Assemblyman Chesbrough. Instead of landfilling or burning this waste, we can produce the lowest carbon transportation of any kind, lower carbon per mile than electric and fuel cell vehicles. We could also produce enough renewable electricity for 2 to 3 million homes. Exactly the sort of flexible generation that we need to complement wind and solar. In the last decade, California has only built 1 pipeline biomethane project, using biogas from a wastewater facility in San Diego to fuel a fuel cell at UC San Diego. Without this legislation, we're not going to see many, if any, more pipeline biogas projects, which is a terrible waste of a valuable resource. So we urge you to support this important legislation that will have huge benefits for the environment and the economy in California.
Good afternoon, Assemblymember Bonilla, Chair Williams, members of the committee. My name is Ryan Kenny with Clean Energy. We are the nation's largest provider of natural gas transportation fuel. We have 150 stations here alone in California, including 65 which provide renewable natural gas. We offer strong support for AB 577. Renewable natural gas does provide 100% renewable fuel from organic sources and is 90% cleaner than gas and diesel. The problem that we have is that 99% of renewable natural gas is produced outside the state of California. There are 3 main barriers to California production of renewable natural gas, one of which is a California Public Utilities Commission tariff mandating the most stringent gas quality cleanup standards in the country. The second is a CPUC tariff mandating gas quality testing, which is cost prohibitive, and also pipeline interconnection costs are cost prohibitive as well. There has been an attempted remedy with AB 1900 that would be intended to facilitate and promote the in-state production and distribution of biomethane, but the regs are contain the very gas quality testing and tariff requirements that have made it difficult to produce in California. We do support AB 577, and we do believe it'll help meet the goals of AB 1900, and it'll allocate cap and trade revenues to help pay the cost of biomethane cleanup and pipeline interconnection. Again, Clean Energy does support AB 577. Thank you.
Thank you. Other witnesses in support, just please state your name, organization, and in support.
Mr. Chair, Just Malone for the California Compost Coalition. We believe that this is a useful component to the whole way that we manage these organic materials. We support the bill.
Mr. Chairman and members, Jessica Gauger on behalf of the California Association of Sanitation Agencies in strong support of the bill.
Witnesses in opposition? Witnesses with testimony neither in support nor opposition? With that, to the committee. Any comments or questions? Yes, Mr. Harper?
I just want to say thank you for the amendment for specifics. So much appreciated.
Absolutely.
Chair's recommendation is aye. Do you have any further comments? Secretary, please call the roll. We do not have a motion. No, first, we have to do roll now that we have a quorum.
Assemblymember Williams?
Here.
Williams here. Dolly? Garcia? Hadley? Harper?
Yes.
Harper here. McCarty? Rendon? Here. Rendon here. Stone? Here. Stone here. Wood? Here. Wood here.
Motion by Stone, second by Rendon. Please call the roll.
Assemblymember Williams?
Aye.
Williams, aye. Dolly? Garcia? Hadley? Harper?
Aye.
Harper, aye. McCarty? Rendon? Aye. Rendon, aye. Stone? Aye. Stone, aye. Wood? Aye. Wood, aye. It's got 5.
Has 5 votes. We'll leave it open for more.
Thank you.
Madam Speaker.
Yes.
While she's coming up, we'll make a couple announcements. There are 2 items that have been pulled from today's hearing. Item 12, AB 720 by Cooley, and item 39, AB 1500 by Mainshine. There are 3 bills proposed for consent, AB 824 by Gatto, AB 1169 by Gomez, and AB 1420 by Salas. Is there a motion for the consent? Motion by Stone, second by Wood. Please call the roll.
Assemblymember Williams?
Aye.
Williams, aye. Dolly? Garcia? Hadley? Harper? Aye. Harper, aye. McCarty? Rendon? Aye. Rendon, aye. Stone? Aye. Stone, aye. Wood? Aye. Wood, aye.
Madam Speaker, would you like to begin on AB 392, San Diego River Conservancy?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair and members. It's my pleasure to present AB 392, which will enable the San Diego River Conservancy to take its place as one of our permanent state conservancies. And I accept the recommended amendment to the bill, and I want to thank committee staff and you for your input and assistance. Okay, let me just, in the interest of time, because I know how busy this committee is, say that this conservancy, I know that there has been a sunset in the past. One of the points I would like to make, this is one of the conservancies that deserves permanent status. It covers 440 square miles along 6 major reservoirs, 4 cities, a large area of unincorporated county lands, Cleveland National Forest, Native American reservations, with 700,000 people living within its area of influence. The Conservancy, in its 12-year history, has overseen 100 acres of restoration along the river, the construction and renovation of approximately 15 miles of public trail along the river, that's well used by people of all ages, and certainly acquisition of over 200 acres of land from willing sellers. To get to the punchline, Proposition 1, passed by voters last November, includes $17 million for projects in the Conservancy's watershed, with projects estimated to take 5 to 10 years to complete. Grantees must be monitored for compliance with grant conditions on capital projects for up to 25 years. This makes sense This conservancy has an excellent reputation of work in the area, and I have a couple of speakers with me, and we'd be happy to talk for hours about the San Diego River Conservancy. And maybe at some point we'll have the opportunity, but I gather that may not be today. And I look forward to adding Mr. Jones from our region as a co-author of this bill as it moves forward at his request. So with that, I would ask you to indulge at least a couple of my speakers who will be short and brief. Ben Clay, who is the chair of our River Conservancy, Jonathan Clay, who's here on behalf of the County of San Diego Board of Supervisors, and I might add I have the city, the county, and a number of stakeholders who are in support of this bill.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, thank you very much for the consideration of this piece of legislation and the amendments that have been proposed. Thank you.
Jonathan Clay on behalf of the County of San Diego in support.
Best. Thank you.
Other witnesses in support, just please state your name, affiliation, and in support.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. Moira Top here on behalf of Mayor Kevin Faulkner and the City of San Diego in support.
Mark Fenstermaker on behalf of Audubon, California in support.
Kyle Jones, Sierra Club, California in support.
Katrina Robinson on behalf of CalTrout in support.
Danielle Lynch on behalf of the Urban Core of San Diego County in support.
Witnesses in opposition. Witnesses with testimony neither in support nor opposition. To the committee, questions, comments? Chair's recommendation is aye. We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Assemblymember Williams?
Aye.
Williams, aye. Dally?
Aye.
Dally, aye. Garcia? Hadley? Harper?
Aye.
Harper, aye. McCarty? Rendon? Aye. Rendon, aye. Stone? Aye. Stone, aye. Wood? Aye. Wood, aye.
6 votes. Congratulations,
Thank
Madam
you.
Speaker. You have 2 more bills.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I'm assuming you want me to take up AB 1071?
Please.
Okay, thank you. I'm happy to be here to present AB 1071, a bill that I proudly joint author with Assemblymember Eduardo Garcia, which requires each board, department, and office within the California Environmental Protection Agency to establish a supplemental environmental project, or SEP, policy to assist environmental justice communities. Many communities, both rural and urban, across California are disproportionately impacted by various types of environmental pollution. These impacted communities are commonly referred to as environmental justice communities, and they need resources to combat and address the negative environmental and public health impacts affecting their neighborhoods. Unfortunately, there is not a clear program in place to ensure that these environmental justice communities receive direct environmental or public health resources and investments. One way these environmental justice communities could benefit from direct investments is through the creation of a uniform supplemental environmental project policy. A policy like this, supplemental environmental projects, would allow entities that are in violation of environmental laws to undertake environmental projects that exceed regulatory requirements as part of the required enforcement action or settlement. In 2003, the California Environmental Protection Agency drafted a guidance document on supplemental environmental projects, which outlines the legal, the administrative, and procedural requirements for the use of SEPs in administrative orders and civil judgments. However, not every Cal EPA board, department, or office has adopted an SEP policy, and those policies that have been adopted generally lack a focus on how to best address environmental justice communities. They're underutilized and are largely unfamiliar and inaccessible to the public. What AB 1071 seeks to address and to ensure is that all Cal EPA boards, departments, and offices establish a policy focused on environmental justice communities. Specifically, it would require Cal EPA boards, departments, and offices to develop an environmental justice SEP policy. It would give broad discretion to each of those boards, departments, and offices to design a policy that best fits their needs and regulatory procedures, but requires them to convene a public process to solicit SEP projects from environmental justice communities, allow up to 50% of the final settlement amount for SEPs, and create an annual list of environmental justice projects that may be funded through an SEP. The bill requires Cal EPA to compile a list of all SEP-eligible projects and post the list on their website. There's certainly a lot of discussion that can happen, and I'm prepared to answer a lot of questions, but right now, here to testify in support of AB 1071 are Amy Vanderwerker, representing the California Environmental Justice Alliance, and Luis Almado, Executive Director of Comité Cívico del Valle.
Good afternoon, committee members. Thank you for their time. My name is Amy Vanderwalker. I'm the co-coordinator of the California Environmental Justice Alliance. CEJA, as we call it, is a statewide coalition of grassroots community-based organizations working to address environmental issues that impact low-income communities and communities of color across California. For our organizations working on the ground in some of California's most polluted communities, we see the impacts of multiple environmental violations every day, whether it's the notorious case of Exide in Southeast LA or violations from large refineries such as Chevron in Richmond, which had the notorious 2012 fire. Communities of color pay the price with their health and quality of life for violations of our state environmental laws. Unfortunately, there are very few mechanisms by which communities can have their health and environmental harms addressed. Supplemental environmental projects, or SEPs, are one of the few policy tools enforcement agencies have to ensure that communities are able to see beneficial projects directly in their communities that can help them recover from the environmental harms and the quality of life harms that have occurred from violations. Unfortunately, as these policies now exist, they often do not reach the communities most impacted. Often community-based organizations do not know about this policy. Enforcement agencies do not have contacts with community-based groups or residents in areas most directly impacted by violations. There are a few great examples of times when that has not been the case, as Mr. Almeida will talk about, but by and large, communities most impacted by our environmental violations are not receiving direct benefits. By creating an environmental justice specific SEP program, AB 1071 will ensure that disadvantaged communities are able to see direct benefits when a violation occurs if a violator chooses to fund a project. It will give enforcement agencies the tools to ensure their settlements and actions can lead to direct benefits in most impacted communities, and will give community-based organizations the opportunity to put forward the many solutions they would like to see to help prevent future violations or address the issues caused by pollution. We urge your aye vote on AB 1071, and we thank Madam Speaker and Assemblymember Garcia for their important leadership on this issue.
Good afternoon, members of the committee and chairman. My name is Luis Olmedo, and I'm the executive director of Comité Cívico del Valle, a 27-year-old community-based organization founded in the county of Imperial. Comité Cívico works to include environmental health, education, and research, environmental justice, and civic participation in our programs. Comité Cívico has a strong history of building partnerships with diverse stakeholders. Over the past 7 years, we have deliberately created a model to involve these different stakeholders in informing and in solving compliance and enforcement actions. The model IVAN, identifying violations affecting neighborhoods, since its inception, has spread to 6 counties and proven successful. IVAN has yielded over $1 million in fines throughout California. However, these monies and pending cases don't always stay in the communities where the violations have occurred. Most recently, the California Department of Toxic Substances Control adopted a new SEP policy that requires SEPs to have an access to the violation and a SEP to be used to offset harms in the environmental justice communities where the violations occurred. Some California regional water boards have also adopted similar policies, which are a step in the right direction. However, it does not make sense that there is so much inconsistency in Cal EPA's BDOs. SEPs can play an important role in securing direct environmental and health benefits for disadvantaged communities. However, SEPs are currently not mandatory policy across all BDOs in the California Environmental Protection Agency. This is why AB 1071 ensures that all Cal EPA's boards, departments, and offices establish a SEP policy specifically for environmental justice and require that all Cal EPA BDOs develop an environmental justice SEP policy. So, thank you.
Thank you. Other witnesses, just state your name, affiliation, and in support.
Hi, my name is Graciela Larios. I'm with the Center for Community Action and Environmental Justice and also with California Environmental Justice Alliance, and I too support this bill.
Hi, Maya Golden Krasner with Communities for a Better Environment, and I support this bill.
Georgia Gomez with Environmental Health Coalition, and I too support this bill.
Cesar Campos with Central California Environmental Justice Network, in strong support of this bill.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members. Quentin Foster, also with the California Environmental Justice Alliance, in support of the bill.
Erica Rincon-Whitcomb on behalf of PolicyLink and the California Equity Leaders Network, a coalition of over 60 organizations across California, in strong support.
Omar Carrillo, Community Water Center, in strong support of this bill.
Andrew Grinberg, Clean Water Action, in support.
Kyle Jones, Sierra Club, California, support.
Richard Harmon, County of Imperial, in support.
Phoebe Seaton, Leadership Council for Justice and Accountability, in support.
Amy Traynor, Director of the West Marin Environmental Action Committee, in strong support. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Any witnesses in opposition? Any witnesses with testimony neither in support nor opposition? To the committee. Questions, comments? There's been a motion and by Stone, a second by Dolly for due pass to appropriations. Chair's recommendation is aye. Would you like to close?
Respectfully ask for your support. Thank you.
Please call the roll.
Assemblymember Williams?
Aye.
Williams, aye. Dolly?
Aye.
Dolly, aye. Garcia? Hadley?
Aye.
Hadley, aye. Harper?
Aye.
Harper, aye. McCarty? Aye. McCarty, aye. Rendon? Aye. Rendon, aye. Stone? Aye. Stone, aye. Wood? Aye. Wood, aye. Scott, aye.
About 8 votes. That bill is out. And your final 1288.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman and members. Hoping to go 3 for 3.
Motion by Stone, second by Williams.
I have a much shorter statement. I'm pleased to bring before you Assembly Bill 1288, which recognizes the importance of continuing California's greenhouse gas emission reduction efforts after 2020. Specifically, AB 1288 clarifies the ongoing role of market-based mechanisms in helping to meet our greenhouse gas reduction goals. We all know that in 2006, the legislature passed AB 32, the California Global Warming Solutions Act, which requires California to reduce greenhouse gas emissions to 1990 levels by 2020. AB 32 tasks the Air Resources Board with developing a comprehensive scoping plan to serve as the state's blueprint for meeting the 1990 limit. One of the tools identified in the scoping plan of regulatory, programmatic, and market-based measures to achieve GHG emission reductions is a cap-and-trade program. The cap-and-trade program has proven to be an effective and complementary strategy for meeting our greenhouse gas reduction goals. But currently, the program is only designed through December 31st, 2020. California's climate programs continue to serve as a national and an international standard for tackling climate change in a manner that maintains our economic vibrancy. While we've made great strides in meeting our first set of goals, there's more work to be done. Recognizing California's commitment to post-2020 greenhouse gas reduction efforts, AB 1288 clarifies that market-based mechanisms should continue to play a key role in achieving the reductions. Here with me to testify in support of 1288 is Alex Jackson, Legal Director of the California Climate Project at the Natural Resources Defense Council, and Erica Morehouse, representing the Environmental Defense Fund.
Good afternoon. I'm pleased to speak in support of moving the bill forward today to affirm, as you heard from Madam Speaker, the ongoing role of the state's cap-and-trade program in helping to achieve California's ambitious climate and clean energy goals. In the decades since the passage of AB 32, California has proven that meeting our climate goals is not only the right thing to do for the well-being of the planet, but for the well-being of Californians. Reducing our dependence on fossil fuels, which is fueling climate change, lowers our pollution, means less exposure to volatile oil markets, and it means more clean energy sources and the jobs that support them. But how we achieve those goals is critical to their enduring success, and California's approach has worked. Set long, clear targets to provide certainty and a positive signal to businesses and investors, develop a comprehensive strategy in an open and public process, and employ a mix of incentives, standards, and market-based tools like the cap-and-trade program to ensure we achieve them. But now is not the time for complacency. Ask any farmer coping with our punishing drought or firefighter dealing with wildfires that are raging now year-round. To mitigate these and future impacts happening already in California, California must continue to show the way forward. AB 1288 takes an important step in that direction It sends a clear signal that our cap and trade program will continue as one piece of our larger climate portfolio. We therefore ask for your aye vote.
Thank you very much, Erica Morehouse with Environmental Defense Fund. And for all of the reasons that the Speaker and Mr. Jackson noted, we also agree that this is an important bill that should move forward. And I'd also like to point out a few key points from two recently released reports that EDF did that provide evidence for why the cap and trade program is an important program now and in 2020. So last summer, EDF and the American Lung Association of California released a report that shows that there are huge indirect benefits coming from California's transportation policies, and cap and trade is a big part of that. So these come from increased energy security, improved public health, contributing to avoided climate change, and we can expect the overall benefits to exceed $23 billion by 2025. And in January, we released a report on the first 2 years of cap and trade implementation that showed that the California economy is growing and adding jobs faster than the national average at the same time that we implement one of the most ambitious climate programs in the entire nation. Clearly, we don't have to choose between economic prosperity and responsible climate leadership. And the cap and trade program is operating smoothly with stable prices and 100% business compliance to date. So cap and trade continue to function as an insurance policy that assures we meet our long-term targets and do so with flexible options that reward innovation and early action. This is an important time for the legislature to weigh in on how California should continue on the successful low-carbon path that we've been on so far. Thank you so much.
Other witnesses, just state your name, organization, and in support.
Mr. Chairman and members, Eloy Garcia for the Western States Petroleum Association, representing the state's major refiners and oil producers. We are in support of the bill. Happy to support with amendments, which we've provided to the Speaker and to our staff. It is, we apologize for the lateness of our position, but it is not one that we take lightly. It is the first time that we have supported a cap and trade bill. And we are happy to work with the Speaker and work on the focus of the program going forward. We do agree with our colleagues here that cap and trade is an important program, and for that reason should play a greater role going forward. To date, it's played a minor role in terms of emission reductions. Although we've seen large sums of revenues to the state, the extent that it plays in terms of emission reductions is really a minor role. It needs to play a greater role going forward.
We really appreciate you coming in support, but we do take 2 witnesses for 2 minutes.
Understand.
And it would be, we would just ask that you would provide the proposed amendments to the committee.
Thank you, Mr.
And
Chairman.
other witnesses in support, just state your name, organization, and in support.
Katrina Robinson with Audubon in support.
Mark Fenstermaker with the Nature Conservancy in support.
Andrew Grinberg, Clean Water Action in support.
Jenna Price, California League of Conservation Voters in support.
And Bonnie Holmes-Jen with American Lung Association in California, also in support.
Amy Trainer with the West Bend Environmental Action Committee, also in support.
Nick Lapis with Californians Against Waste in support.
Kyle Jones, Sierra Club, California in support.
Sylvia Solis Shaw on behalf of Advanced Energy Economy in support.
Other witnesses in opposition? Please come to the front. We're doing pretty good, members. If we keep up this pace, we will only be here for another 4 hours. So keep that up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Michael Shaw, California Manufacturers and Technology Association. First, I wanted to apologize to the chair and, of course, Madam Speaker, as to the lateness of our position as well. We do give great consideration to this issue. I also wanted to thank the Speaker and her staff for accessibility during that time as well. We did want to acknowledge that we appreciate the focus on market-based mechanisms that we believe is the most appropriate way to go about reducing GHG emissions. However, before we move forward with a post-2020 policy, even one focused, as it is on market-based mechanisms, we do want to be clear that there are reforms that we think need to be made to the existing cap-and-trade system. A couple in particular that I'd like to highlight are, one, the third compliance period, which begins January 2018, sees a 25% reduction in the industry assistance, or those are the free allowances that are made available to companies. This is unnecessary to reduce to meet our GHG goals. for 2020. In addition to that, it represents a significant financial penalty to companies in California in their ability to meet their compliance obligations. In addition to that, the auction that is a part of the cap and trade system, which is truly just a revenue generating program for the state of California, is unnecessary again to reach those goals. Operating a cap and trade system with no auction and 100% industry assistance would allow California to continue to meet its GHG emissions reduction goals and minimize the financial impact on California companies, helping manufacturers to be more competitive. In addition to that, as we move ahead with these reforms, or move ahead with our GHG emissions reductions program, we need to look at those reforms. We also need to look at the most effective policies that we can implement that would increase California manufacturing jobs. The reason we stress that is because any manufacturing job, or frankly any job in California for that matter, is cleaner than it is anywhere else. So by the fact that we grow our economy, we are helping to reduce GHG emissions. Just wanted to thank the chairman and the speaker for their indulgence.
Thank you.
Other witnesses in support or in opposition? Witnesses with testimony neither in support nor opposition? To the committee. Questions, comments from the committee? There has been a motion for due pass as amended. Motion by Stone, second by Williams. Please call the roll.
Assemblymember Williams?
Aye.
Williams, aye. Dowling?
No.
Dowling, no. Garcia? Hadley?
No.
Hadley, no. Harper?
No.
Harper, no. McCarty?
Aye.
McCarty, aye. Rendon? Stone?
Aye.
Stone, aye. Wood?
Aye.
Wood, aye.
That bill is on call, and again, just want to clarify to members, this does not include the last set of amendments that were submitted, though those will be submitted to the committee, and we will distribute them because it's obviously from a last bit of negotiation. Okay.
Can I? Sorry.
You want to
Mr. Chairman,
that?
I just want to, I want to clarify. I'm always thrilled when we get late-breaking support and opposition and discussion. I am happy to work with anyone related to the amendments that have been put forward. I have not yet had a chance to look at those in depth, but I will work with all parties. Appreciate Mr. Alloy coming forward today, and I just want to make sure for the record that this committee knows that we will move forward, look at them, and respond as such. But we have not yet had a chance, nor has your committee, to look at the amendments, but appreciate the opportunity to do so.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Next up, we will have Mr. Gordon, because he has a bill up in UNC.